Hello everyone, my name is Khadijah Little, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a straight through and a crossover cable using 4 basic things. The first thing you're going to need is this RJ45. It acts as a wire cutter as well as a wire stripper. And then you also going to need the connectors, and this is going to also clamp these down onto the wires. You can get this off of Amazon as well. And we need a cable tester. This is going to test your straight through and your crossover cables. You also need 5 things. You need a AA battery to go in the back of this. And wires, and you can get these about 150 feet off of Amazon, and you'll just cut these. So let's get started. So now that you have your desired Ethernet cable that you want to work with, we got to talk about how long you need the cable. You're going to need the cable a lot longer than you think, especially since you're just starting out. You're going to end up making mistakes, and then the cutting unnecessarily is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So I would probably do like a wingspan. So from here to here seems about good. Anything longer than that is a little too much. And you don't want to be tripping over wires and then you got lawsuit coming your way. You're gonna take your RJ45, and right here it has like a zoom in. It has like a little clipper right there, like a razor. And you're gonna put it in between your wire and you're gonna cut it. That's the first step. Now, along with that razor, it also has a wire stripper. It's the one straight above that. So I'll say probably about like a thumb's length. Anything over that is too long because when you put it into the connector, it's gonna be a little too long. So I'll say about like a thumb's length. You can always cut down on some more, especially since we got a lot. You also don't want to clip down too hard because, well, maybe y'all got higher quality stuff than mine. See, I already broke it. This is what it should look like. And the next step would be to separate all of these wires. So you're just gonna pull them out like this. And notice how you have like this plastic and this string part. You don't need that part. It's actually gonna take up a lot of space. So you're gonna take your clipper tool right here, and you're gonna just clip that piece of plastic off so it's just these wires. And then your next step would be to unravel these wires individually. So this is what your wires should look like once you separate all of them. They should all be spaced out individually. And your next step would be to refer to your straight through book, pamphlet, Google image, whatever you have, telling you how the wires should be organized. We're going to start with side 1, and you're going to organize it just like so. A nice little trick to do once you have them all kind of like straight, you want to like maybe press them up against the edge of a desk to get them nice and flat in order, so when you stick them into the connector piece, it easily goes in. So again, just make sure you're like bending them because they're like a little like wiggly at first and not like curving to each other. It'd be kind of hard. So I recommend like just doing a desk trick. Make sure you're gentle. You don't want to put holes or cuts in these wires because they're not going to work. This is what the cord should look like, or the cable should look like. Make sure it lines up in the order that was on that sheet telling you for the straight through. So see how this is kind of uneven? This is going to cause a problem with sticking it into the connector. So you're going to take your RJ45 and you're going to clip it to make sure they're all even like this. So when you plug it into the connector, it's all great. Also, I recommend holding your finger at the bottom, getting them close so when it goes in, you don't have any problems. So this is the connector piece. Notice how there's this back lip piece. This is the piece that you use to like press down when inserting it into a device. That piece needs to be pointed away from you. There's also pins on these. They're numbered. They're also going to have to make sure that your wire lines up with these pins. I have kind of bad lighting in here, but I'm going to try to. So this is what it should look like. Keep in mind, if this piece right here is facing you, you've inserted it into the connector the improper way. So make sure you go back and you fix that. Our next step would be to take our RJ45, and there's these this middle piece right here. You're going to insert the little clip part that I said to make sure it's pointing away from you. It's going to go face side up, and you're going to stick it into the connector. And as you're squeezing down on these handles at the bottom, you're going to be pressing into the RJ45, and you're going to clip. Like, okay, so that was, it had made a click, but I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's going to make a click. So as soon as you press it in, it's going to make a click, and when you pull it, it's not going anywhere. Nowhere. What you did for this side, you're going to do the exact same thing for the other side. Now that both sides are connected and they both have their connectors onto it, you're going to take out your cable tester and you're going to test it. Now that you got AAA batteries in your cable tester, you're gonna connect one end of the Ethernet into this port, and then the other end of the Ethernet cable into this port, or straight through. So, this one, I'm gonna do this one. It's gonna look like that. And then we have the off mode, on mode, and then S, what that stands for. So we're gonna switch it on to on. And see how it goes straight through. Hence, straight through cable. Make sure you label your straight through cable. You don't want to get it mixed up with the crossover cable. Now we're going to be making a crossover cable. Now notice on this diagram, side 2 is going to be different from side 1, and they're not going to be the same as they would be in a straight through cable. So again, we're going to start with just cutting the wire and stripping it and then unraveling it. Again, as a reminder, this is what it should look like. Make sure you cut that piece out in the middle, that clear piece. We're gonna start with side 1. You can reference the chart at any time if you have any questions about how to order the chart or what wires to put them in. Now you're gonna go to your other end of your cable and you're gonna do everything else that we did in the previous step. But please make note that this is a crossover cable, so side 2 is not gonna be the same as what we did as a straight through cable. So to make sure that you're following the directions and what the order that the wires go to. And again, this is what it should look like. And then you're just gonna make sure that you're following the directions in the diagram and that they're in the right order. Okay, this is what it should look like. You're gonna take one of your connector pieces. Same rule applies. You want this to be facing away from you. As you put this into your connector, you might have to like reorganize the wires or group them together before you put them in here. Sometimes they like to move around. And it should be easy to slide on in there. You can also do one last double check to make sure they're in the right place, because once you put that clamp down and you hear that click, nothing's coming off. So you're gonna take your RJ45, stick it through, push into it, and then clamp down. You hear that click, and that lets you know that this part of your cross through is complete. Okay, and once you got your wires all nice and lined up, you're gonna make sure you cut anything off the top to make sure it's even. You want to give your wires a nice even fade. Okay, so your wires should be all lined up, and before you put it into your connector piece, make sure that this is facing away from you, and now you're gonna insert it into the connector. Okay, push that in. Double check one last time before you clamp it down that it's in the proper order. And then you're going to clamp it down, making sure that this side is up. You're pressing it into the RJ45 and you're clipping it. All right, and now our last thing to do is to test it using our connector. You're gonna put one in, press it down, do what I did, put it in there. Take your other end, you're gonna also put it in here, and you're going to turn it on. And see how they're like, yeah, they're crossing over. So like a straight through was a lot different than this output here. And then thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. Drop a like and a comment. And